Do I have food on my mouth? Probably in my teeth.
This is Diara Lo, and this is Welcome to Your World. I'm here with Susan Sunshine, and we're talking about the new trend catching on. It started out where, Susan?
Started out in New York City on Wall Street. It was called Occupy Wall Street. It's still called Occupy Wall Street. But it's caught on like wildfire, and most of the big cities, west, southwest. I'm not so sure about northwest yet. They're a little slow to catch on sometimes, Montana, those places. But any state that has really big cities like San Francisco, Detroit, they're doing it.
Can I ask you, what is the intent of the protest? What are the goals?
Well, there's probably so many as each person's an individual and has different wants and needs. There's very many issues, but it starts with a country that's crumbling. It's starting with a world that's crumbling, a planet that is crumbling because of bad choices of our leaders, bad weather, all kinds of reasons to make the planet right now at a real point of devastation. And the very wealthy, I don't know what kind of drugs they take to make them that greedy. I mean, if I had $1 million or $1 billion, I'd want to pay my fair share of taxes so that people would still buy from me. They could, the whole world would be better. And Michael Moore even said that at one time, 20, 30 years ago, they did pay their fair share of taxes. And still were millionaires and billionaires. He called it the 3 Bs, Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Birmingham. Knowing Michigan areas, Grosse Pointe. He said all those people still had as much money, but a little less because they shared. And now they have so much, how can they even spend it or something? They're basically, something has happened to put people over the edge. And at least in Michigan now, Snyder, who tried to pass that cutting people off of welfare, a judge stopped that, at least temporarily. So it's a minor victory, but we're having victories. It's minor only if it's not permanent. If they're giving a certain time, and then they're going to take them off, it's like, yes, starve people, but let's give them a little extra time because it's the law. They don't start reusing and giving fair distribution of wealth in this country or in everywhere else. They should all be ashamed of themselves.
So Occupy Wall Street was based on the taxes from the rich not being paid?
That and Wall Street getting bailed out too many times, the banks getting bailed out too many times. They got bailed out. I mean, how much money do they need while we're still sinking further and further into the abyss? People are starving. They have no place to live. This is not, whether it's the American way, Europe way, any way, it's not the way the world was at one time. There's always been turmoil. I'm not naive. There's always been unfairness, but they don't need us anymore. I think they don't because of robotics and technology, and they just want to do away with us as fast as possible. Maybe that isn't even, excuse me, the uppermost thing in their mind, that they think that they are so greedy and don't want to share, and they're ruining the whole world that way. So people are fed up. They don't want to be, they don't want any more losses. They don't want people, because they're starving, to attack each other. And so it's now or never. And if we don't do this right, it's going to even be worse for us. There's got to be a way of doing this right, like most everybody out there, and sharing whatever you have. If someone comes into town, needs a place to stay, a bath, some food if you're not the person that can be on the street, if you want to help with the medical, if you want to help cut up food at the churches to feed people, there's going to be things for everyone to do, even if they're working, because you can come and go. You don't have to stay there. But it is going to be like a camp, and people are not leaving until there's some change.
Now, you've done this a few times in your life.
Yes, I have.
Do you remember your first protest?
Not right now without having time to think of it, but I did start pretty young, the civil rights movement, in the 60s. I was, in my 20s. I wasn't a teenager or a baby. My dad was very politically active, and he took me places and talked to me from when I was about 4 years old up, because he served in World War II. I didn't have my dad until then. But I've always been an activist, always been political, and I always will be.
Well, I've talked to some people in Bloomfield. I actually just sold my house in Bloomfield.
Mm.
And what they're saying is that they think that it's unfair. Now, this is the wealthier population, that they should have to support those through welfare because it was their choice to make several different children with several different fathers, and why should they have to support reckless, careless people? They feel like those people made poor decisions, and why should they have to pay for it?
Yeah, I'm getting really tired of hearing this out of people's mouths. It's like they have tunnel vision. They can only see what they see. There's always been people that are slackers, alcoholics on Skid Row that were no good bums or gave it all up because they really didn't want to make it. The American dream has been dead for a long time. When they say anyone can pull themselves up by the bootstraps, when you have years of increased environmental action on the planet with toxins getting into people's bloodstream, more food processed, everything almost like to kill us, make us sick. And these people cannot pull themselves up by the bootstraps. And when there's no jobs and then they say they're going to take away welfare, it's an insidious plot for the rich to just get richer. And the upper middle class and there's things like, if you don't like this country, leave it. They should leave it because to have that kind of attitude, it's worse than negativity. It's like anger and fear, and they're not pulling themselves up by the bootstraps by helping somebody else who can then help other people. And if you're downward and negative, get out of my way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say, just from what I've experienced, being someone who has struggled a little bit and tried to make it and have found not many resources for myself to pay for college. I've had to work and pay a couple classes a semester at a time whenever I can afford it. And, sometimes I find myself getting frustrated because if you are an addict or an alcoholic, there are grants out there for you. If you are a single mother on welfare, they pay for your school, they pay for a place to live, they give you food stamps, furniture vouchers, clothing vouchers for your kids. And I was working 3 jobs with a small child, and there are no resources because I made too much money.
The system is very unfair in many ways, but if the top would share more, it would be like it was back in the day when, like Franklin Delano Roosevelt, they had more jobs. Why did they have to have money to talk about jobs? Put the money in for the jobs, quit sending them overseas, and why, attack the most vulnerable people? And of course, a percentage of them are like, what do you call them, degenerates or something, but a lot of them are sick or have psychological problems. But when you take away what people need, which is the basic human rights of food, clean air, clean water, you have a diseased nation. And then the wealthy and the upper middle class get haughty. And a lot of it's fear, and not always false evidence appearing as real, but just the fear of, not having enough. That's what we have, a hoarding nation now. And that it's people that feel they're never going to have enough, and they only feel good when they're getting something. There's just so much that is wrong with the planet. We've taken away our basic human rights and natural lifestyle, and having a life with no style in it or any life in it. And so, of course, there's people that have always struggled and had to pay a little bit more or really work hard to get where they're going. And that's good. That's some of the people that pull themselves up by the bootstraps, like I said. But there's not enough for everybody on this planet. So some people can't get that. They're turned down. There's quotas. There's all different reasons. And there's slackers that are rich, but they can be like that because their parents support them or something. But it's all about dividing things evenly. And not, like I said before, I don't mean evenly. There should be a chance to advance. I'm not for communism, but I'm not for greedy capitalism, which our capitalism has turned into. Mm-hmm. It's enough to make a person just almost give up, because the dreams are turning into nightmares, and if we don't do something about it, The government doesn't have money anymore either. A lot of it, FEMA, they're taking most of the money away. Some of the next disasters will be so pitiful, nobody will even get out of it alive. So it's, and to have a cheerier day for my friend, let's go out and party a little. There's nothing wrong with good, clean fun.
Right, and where are we going, ladies, tonight?
Are we supposed to say? Are we going to a blind pig? Are we going to gamble? Are we going to a strip show? Am I Saved by the Bell? You tell us where we're going. You thought of it.
This is Diara Lo, and we are headed to the Rainbow Room to watch a fabulous drag show for my friend here, Beth, who is soon to be married on the fabulous date of 11/11/11.
I was just being interviewed by someone on their,
Are you having fun so far, Beth?
Yes, I'm having lots of fun.
Good, good, good.
And we're getting ready to go.
We started out at a comedy cancel.
Yeah, we just saw Reno Collier, and it was very funny.
Very, very funny. And as Susan is explaining, we're going to see female impersonators on the Detroit side of 8 Mile. Looking forward to having a night of fun. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And until next time, welcome to your world, which might be in another 45 minutes or so. Maybe we could shoot some more video there and welcome you to that community and that part of the world. Have a good night.